So Debbie is living the dream. I don't know which one.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting at 6:01. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Gallagher.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Foltz.
Yes.
Page.
Here.
Scarborough.
Here.
Showers.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Freeman.
Present.
Okay, I am going to ask that we take the agenda out of order up to mayor's comments. And before we do the consent agenda, I'm going to have Pete come before the board and address them about an item that is in your consent agenda to approve for payment tonight.
I'm going to make a motion that we take the agenda out of order.
Second.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Is that John?
Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Callaghan.
Yes.
Foltz.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, the board has the same thing that you had in front of you.
Okay.
So you can speak from that if you need to.
Okay, so back to our ambulance that we have loaned to Liberty. In the last 2 weeks, the transmission went out. So they brought it in extra, and that's where we had all our work done and got the estimate. Came back at $8,000 or $8,000 and change, whatever. So I talked to the finance chair and the city clerk to see if they thought it would be acceptable if we split the cost of that. And the cost of that is, you have $4,000. That is it. So, I really felt like it was fair for both of us. We are going to have that ambulance for another 10 years. It's going to be our reserve ambulance. Most ambulances that have 100,000 miles needs a new transmission. We were going to be buying a new transmission for that in the next 10 years. We had to do the same thing for our previous ambulance that was our reserve. The 06 we had to put a new transmission in as well. So just it was we have budgeted I think around $8,000 for the EMF for ambulance repairs. Was really hoping just to sock that away because we have an ambulance that's under warranty. So, I'm still hoping that we'll still be under budget for EMS repairs, but it is a significant expense, and I know we had our contract that we agreed that we had with Liberty. Did specify that they would handle repairs, but I think this was just a little bit out of the ordinary, and they've done great with everything. They've replaced and I told this before, they put all new dual tires on the back just because, and so anyway, that's kind of where we're at.
And the mileage that,
Oh, so yeah, so we gave them when we loaned it to them, we had roughly 92,000 miles and change, and right now they put about 8,000 miles on it. So 8,000 miles, it's got 100,440 miles or something is what they told me today that's on it. So, you know, to put 8,000 miles on a vehicle and they've already invested probably $6,000 in that big.
6 or 7.
So anyway, so that's just kind of the update that the mayor wanted me to
Thank you.
all.
It's something unusual that came in front of us, and just wanted to clarify that for anyone that's looking at our budget and expense lines, as well as the board.
And just the confirmation that there's no board action is necessary because it's already within the budget.
Mhm.
So, okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you. The only other thing that I want to let you guys know is that there's going to be a community Christmas event. Committee scheduled for 2:00 on Friday, this coming Friday. Anybody that would like to attend is more than welcome. We're going to start talking about what that's going to be about and how that's going to look, and we'll be there about an hour.
What time did you say that was again?
2:00,
And you said that was a committee for,
the
Christmas
community
party?
Christmas event.
and I'm sorry, it was it's a committee for that event.
That's a time for that committee to meet.
Do we have like an official, I don't know if this was discussed in the last meeting, so I'm sorry if I'm asking questions. Do we have like an official committee together, or is it just,
There's
Staff.
there's anybody from the board,
okay,
anybody in the community can sign up, just like with other committees.
okay,
We do have a couple,
perfect. Awesome, thank you.
all right?
So my question, some of us work, so is there an option for people to call in to listen if they're unable to attend?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, let's go on, and I will entertain an approval for the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? Anybody want to pull anything? Clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callagher,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough.
What was it?
Because pay raises, I thought there was a whole paper, I don't even see it.
Is it, do you need it for your vote for the consent agenda?
No,
Sorry.
but I don't understand why it's not there.
So that's under discussion.
Okay, do
You want to bring it, you want to stop the vote on the agenda at this point? And ask your question? Yes?
I thought, I guess.
Okay, so speaking to the mic, that we have a request from people that listen, that we eat our mics tonight.
I thought there was a paper that had people getting raises and whatever, and I don't see it in the packet. Am I losing my mind or?
No, that is my mistake. I apologize. That when I was putting this together, that got missed.
All right, and that's just the personnel agenda then?
Yes.
But that's part of.
It is part of the
Second.
consent agenda.
Consent agenda. It'd be nice for people to see what they're voting on,
Yes.
is what I thought.
If the board wishes to take a recess, that will just take me a moment to make copies for everybody.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
It is important that
I
when we
agree.
vote, it's an informed vote.
Okay, so pull your vote back, or your motion back.
Okay, yeah, I'll pull my motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do you
And
also need to pull a second? Or is it
Pull the second.
Auto pull?
no, you have to pull the second
Yeah.
and vote on that.
I should have looked earlier.
I think I just autofill it because I read it already.
Yeah, I knew what it was on it. I
Okay.
just was like,
To it.
where is it?
Call the roll.
We need a roll call.
Yes?
Is this roll call for a recess or is it,
No, it's a roll call to to pull back the motion and the second for the consent agenda?
We could just continue the vote, and if we all vote
No.
no, then it wouldn't get approved, right?
No,
This feels like a fringe.
No, no.
A fringe situation.
no.
Let's just remove it.
Yeah.
Take a 2-minute recess and then we'll start over.
So, clerk call the roll.
Who was the first and second to pull that?
John was the first, Serenity was the second, and now we have the vote. We'll pull it back.
Yes.
Callaghan.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, now I will entertain a motion to go into a 5-minute recess.
Maybe we take a recess to allow the clerk to obtain the papers requested.
Second.
Okay? Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Callaghan.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay. We can thank Chris.
Blue highlighter. Okay, so just yellow comes out of here. No, slip back, steady lines. Like the-
You can try.
I like that.
John's gonna take it.
I actually know before the dad or the one of my cousins. His
But it's a rent, they're renting it.
So,
It'd be short.
I'm talking about the Willow House, the kind of beige, flex, whatever you call it. There's only one person in there. Over there.
I didn't finish.
Gotta be a difficult.
He gets two, you know.
She wants to take a picture of it.
But there's still stuff on her side, so. If you guys should read once in a while.
I'm with you.
Real slow, they go uphill, turn around, and then they kind of move so long.
Okay,
I move we come back to recess.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Green.
Okay, we now have the personnel agenda in front of us that can be included as part of the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions regarding it? Okay,
Okay.
can I have a
so
motion
I'll
for
make
the
a
consent
motion that
agenda?
we approve the full consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Green.
Okay. Thank you all. Next we have Kenny Hales. Please come forward, Kenny. Kenny was chosen as our auditor for this year, and he has his audit report for us for 2025.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Kenny.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to provide your audit services for the year. Part of what I do is essentially trying to go through the books, looking, using procedures that are established from what I do as far as looking what I want to see and what I expect to see kind of thing. One of the things that I've talked to the mayor, Matthew, and Julia, is the format of the audit followed the format that you used for several years. I think the furthest back I could find one was 2017 in this format. And what it is it doesn't give you a full presentation as to the finances of the city. It's essentially a cash in, cash out. So if you think of it like this is a giant checkbook and looking to see what you paid and what you owed, that sort of thing. So going through that thing, I had no problems with anything I saw, anything of that nature. And when I talked to the group before, with John and Pat, the mayor, and as well as Matthew and Julia, is going to a full accounting presentation to where you've got a balance sheet, you're listing your capital assets, the big ticket items you own, the building, these desks, the ambulances, the half ambulance, fire trucks, police, the playground, streets, sewer lines, all that kind of stuff. And all that gets depreciated, makes your assets look really good. And also your debts, any leases, loans, anything you have that way gets reported. Your loggers, retirement, the pension fund gets reported in there. So it'll look a lot different than this next year. I was hired in May, and the goal was like, I think we really need to have this done by the end of June to give it to the state auditor's office. So we made an attempt and realized pretty quick that we weren't going to be able to pull this together in any kind of organized manner. So what we've done is we've kind of come up with a plan to put all that information, because a lot of it is figuring out, when was this building built? When were the vehicles purchased? Anything like that that's significant, going back through your insurance policies and just trying to figure out what the age of items, just to get a reasonable numbers for the book. That will tell you exactly where you stand. Now, this is it's a non-standard audit, but it's also, like I said, everything was in line as far as things coming in, things going out. It's basically presented by fund, which is what you've done before, but there's lots of work to do by this time next year, really, as we talked about, by March really, or April of next year, because I'd like to do it sooner than at the last minute than it was this year, to make sure we've got everything in place to then actually go in and audit the city. So anything that's and as I told the group before, I said any problem I would have or could find, you would know a lot sooner than this meeting tonight. you would all be aware of anything that's any issue or any problem as far as that goes. So generally, for a city your size, you have a finance committee, there's board members on the committee, there's citizens on the committee that are knowledgeable of financial statements that can, look at a draft audit and say, why is this in here? What does this mean? What is this figure? Where did you get this figure? That sort of thing. You can ask questions that way. That way we can get to the final spot, and then I'm reporting everything that essentially you already know. Like I said, there should be no surprises. So from that standpoint, from what I did do, again, there's nothing that I saw that would, raise any alarms. All the money's there, all the money that came in, all the money that went out. It's sorted, categorized, stacked, counted. We got rid of the pennies, that kind of thing. But I had no problems with what I saw. And I always tell the group, if you're looking through this and you have questions, get them to Matthew. And if it's something I can get you an answer, or if it's something you want me to come back and address, I'm always happy to do that. So that's really all I've got.
I would like to have a comment regarding the court funds, because I did ask you to take a look at that.
The court funds, part of what's changed over the years is you can only have a certain percentage of your revenue from speeding tickets and municipal fines, now 20%. I think that's been adjusted 3 or 4 times since the law became enacted. Most of what used to be, because I deal with a lot of small towns, this is one of the larger towns that I deal with. But most of the time what it is you've got a flip book and you're looking at ticket number 1758 and then it should be 1759, and I'm looking to see if there's anything missing or just how everything was handled that way. I want completeness and I want thoroughness as far as reporting and making sure that ticket got adjudicated or however it was handled within the court system. The state of Missouri has stepped in the last few years and implemented a system to where most of this is now automated. So really, the entering of the ticket is really pretty standard as far as what they report. Prior to this, there we go. Prior to this, you had to enter the information yourself. Now it's kind of done, it's more automated than it has been in the past. So there's a lot less room for, well, it was speeding, but it probably could have been, something else over here, so that we could write that ticket this way. There's a lot less leeway for the officers statewide to fudge one way or the other, kind of thing. So didn't have any problem as far as what came in, what went out that way. The reports, like say there's a monthly report that the city is required to file, that the state now knows what it is before you file it. So it's more of a matching on their end to make sure that you actually reporting what they already know, kind of thing. So yes.
Do you have that rough number available?
I do not.
If I turn to page 5, which is the general fund regulatory basis, if I take on the receipt side, which is income essentially, this is grossly overestimating the amount that came in from speeding tickets. It's probably a much smaller number than 209,061, right?
Yes.
And you divide that by the total number of receipts, 3.2 million, I got 6.5%. So even if we use the full 209,000 as speeding ticket income, which it likely is not that full amount, we're still, a good 14% below what the required state maximum is. Is that an accurate,
yes,
rough calculation?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question. Anyone else have any questions? And we hired you again for 2000, to do the 2026 audit, is that correct?
I haven't sent you an engagement letter, but
Yes.
I think that's kind of the understanding.
Go ahead.
Sorry, talking about next year, we should get a much different report next year. But there's a lot of work that is going to go into getting you the information that you need in order to fill out that report.
Yeah, it's quite an endeavor, I will say, because like I say, you're trying to find to your best, to your knowledge as to when things were done multiple years. The building, the playground. It's like, well, I think we did that then, kind of thing. So there'll be a lot of digging that way, as well as just trying to do your job and trying to make sure that as we put things in different funds, how they get categorized, that sort of thing. There's bank accounts that have been added. So there's a lot to do before I show up.
So once we do it one year, then the next year we'll just feed off of that.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah, that was basically
That was
gonna
it?
be my
Yeah.
question, yeah. That is this there would be more work kind of this first year, would be my assumption. And it
Yeah.
should make it easier in the future when we have a lot of that analysis done.
I don't know if it'll be easier, but it'll be more standardized.
Sure.
There you go.
And then that was, I had another quick follow-up on that same question, but it sounded like it's implied, but just to go through is, and this might be for Pat and for the mayor as well, that this kind of new standard of audit is not just we're looking to do this 1 year as like a deep dive, but we're looking at this being kind of the standard going forward.
Yes, this would be the format that we would want to look at going forward.
As a comment, it being non-standard isn't bad. It still meets the legal requirement for what the state requires us to do.
Yeah.
But it's not a complete picture. It covers the cash, but it doesn't give residents, it doesn't give the board, it doesn't give the public at large or the state a better idea of assets, liabilities in a more structured reporting format. And I think that is important to strive to expend the funds to get that documentation ready for its adoption in future auditing years. Last question. Sorry. While we have experts here, that's kind of what okay. Anyway, so a lot of this takes a look at what happened. Is there a component of here's a recommendation for adoption of policies, procedures, standards, methods? Is there a recommendation from you contained in this about how we can improve financial operations of the city?
No.
Okay.
This is essentially a historical document.
It's historical. It's not forward looking.
Yeah. Typically what I'll do is prepare a management letter, but the management letter was essentially what everything I just said at this point. So it's what it could be, things like, making sure that we're capitalizing larger items, sewer repairs or something that were written or were recorded as an expense, something like that nature. If that's something that needs to be done. I'm going to be preparing the depreciation schedule, which is not standard. But if that's something that we can turn over, myself and I, can turn over to you guys at a future time, then that becomes more standard. So really, it's a matter of just you're biting off a lot, and I don't know how to express that any more than this is going to be hard for the city. The impetus for this, the auditor's office, you can file an audit with them, or you can complete a series of Excel spreadsheets that they have that essentially list what went in, what went out, what's your beginning cash, what's your ending cash. It's kind of what this is. And you can file that as well. Where the audit comes in handy for next year is if you need to go get grants, if you need to go get loans, if you need to issue bonds, banks, lenders of any kind are going to want to see, what do you got? What do you owe? What do you already owe are we primary to this, or are we subsidiary, second to this debt? If there's debt that needs to be rewritten, that sort of thing. This doesn't tell you enough about where the city stands, honestly. You could, the building may be crumbling down. The audit next year will give you an idea as what do we need to plan to do? What do we need to plan to replace? And that's where the audit and really your monthly financials will give you better information to make better decisions. Well, if we're having a backup ambulance and we're loaning that out and we get in a pinch, when's our primary ambulance? When's it running out? When do we need to replace that? Our police cars, that sort of thing. So you don't want to go out and buy 4 police cars all at once. You want to be able to, to spread that cost out, so that cash flow out. Same thing for the public works side. What's your budget? What are you having to spend money on? If there's a large repair, how do we handle that? Those kind of things that a true audit will give you a foundation, again, to make better decisions going forward. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Pat? No?
I do. So I really appreciate you clarifying what's going on and what needs to be done for the city. So in what you have reviewed during this audit in this packet, what do you think, I kind of hear some of the things you're saying, but for next year, what are you really going to tackle? What's your priority in your audit that would help us? I hear the part where you wanted transparency, pretty much if we want to go for grants or loans or refinancing things. How would that set us apart for the size of the town we are compared to other small towns?
Most of the clients I work with and most cities out there have already done all this. So in that regard, you're behind a little bit. But that doesn't preclude you from any of the problems they might have that you don't have. So it's really just putting you back on being able to compare oranges to oranges, apples to apples. And so that, especially if you're competing for grants, they would look at this and like, okay, well then I'm gonna talk to Matthew and see, all right, what do you owe? What do you have? What kind of assets do you have? That sort of thing.
So then basically it's a prospectus of our town, like our assets and liabilities, which was mentioned earlier, and what we could leverage if we need to go after loans or even apply for grants.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Julia?
Now, we used to do the full audit, and so I went back and dug through Matthew's office and found the financial statement audits. I think that back when Trout Beeman did our audit, it was a full audit. I think that ended, we used to be on a June 30th year end, and some point we became a calendar year, but so 15 or 16. When we got the new audit firm that he's kind of taking from, it slimmed down to this. And so what the good thing is, because I'm basically going to help put this asset list together and liability list together, is we have one that's 10 years old, right, that we can roll for. We've done some things since then in the city, but we have some place to start, because I was very curious about the sewer lines and how we were valuing that. And it was on the books last time we had a balance sheet. So what he's talking about is just putting it back in it. All the things that were in it that I think got pared down, it helped with cost probably. I don't really know what the reasons were for the current board at that time. But I think we're just kind of gonna put it back in there and have a normal looking audit. Like, this is still an audit, but it's kind of an audit light in a way, and I think we need to get back to a full audit. And so it'll be a complete picture.
Thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Then we'll let you get off the hot seat.
I gotta go home. Do you know what that hot seat's like?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all.
We appreciate.
Have a good evening.
Okay, I need next public comments. Yes, anybody want to come forward? Alderman comments, John?
Put some pictures on everybody's desks. We had some discussion this past week about potentially covering part of the area down in front of the police department for weather protection, protect all of the police cars that are sitting here, for potential storm damage, and even the feasibility of building a sally port, which is an enclosed garage that attaches to the building, so an officer that had a prisoner could pull inside that, shut the door, so he doesn't have to worry about a prisoner potentially escaping or dealing with snowing or ice on the ground if they're working with a prisoner. These pictures are of some other businesses that have them, and I think most of these have solar panels on them, which would be really neat, but unless there is some grant money available for solar panels, they're more expensive than they're worth right now. So I would like for Chris to go forward with trying to gather some estimates on doing something like this, and we can bring estimates back to the board. And then if we think it's feasible at that time to maybe let it for bid. But this is something that will probably happen in 2027, so that if we agree to do something, we can look at budgeting it for that, and maybe do a two-phase, do a covered right now, maybe do a sally port down the road, or just to see what our options are. But just an FYI for everybody. Chris also, or this was in the packet, some estimates that he had put together. But I think option 3 and option 4 is just going to be option 4, a freestanding cover like in this picture, and option 3 would be put a sally port in and a covered parking from the sally port to the south. And this would let us take down that temporary structure that Sarah currently parks under, and make it part of the structure that gets put in. So she still would be parking under covered parking. And there would be plenty of room for the additional handicap space that's down there that's very tight. So just FYI for everybody.
Quick question, so I'm understanding, you're saying that this would go right in front of, like, the entrance to the police department, where all the cop cars are kind of lined up on the side of the building, on the back of
It
the
would
building?
basically go from the north edge of the building to the south edge, or just past the south edge, wherever the edge of that parking spot is, before the curve of the curb comes
Okay.
around.
And then, so a confirmation on that, this would be, the use would only be for police officers and police cars, like this would not be public, wouldn't be able to park there for like going to the park or something?
Correct.
And Pat, we do have a capital expenditure list at this point that we're adding, that we add things to, is that correct?
So when the budget is set in November, December of each year, it includes a schedule of anticipated capital improvement expenses for the next year. And that list can get modified through budget amendment processes.
Okay.
I have a question on the whole police, et cetera, because there's painting that was supposed to be done and it's never been done. There were tables that were supposed to go under the radio, whatever, machines that were stored incorrectly, so they are gone. We had new tables, I don't know where they're stored, and we're supposed to get the new radio things in like February. I just want to be sure all of that happens before or along with, that it doesn't disappear.
Are you,
All 911 operator.
there was I'm trying to jog my memory. There was an item on the capital improvement schedule that was, what, a third dispatch station? Is that what you're talking about?
Along with the other, there were new tables, there were new tables given to us that were stored incorrectly, so they weren't able to use. Then we have new tables now, I'm hoping they're stored correctly, so they will be able to be used, and everything, that it all gets nicely done along with that.
Okay.
I would say that the best thing for us to kind of, we don't have Jared here tonight, it looks like, but is to make sure that, obviously, anytime we're doing something that kind of directly impacts the department, that we work really closely with the department head and saying, what is your priority for financial decisions? What needs to get done? So I just say that we should make sure that, to echo what you're saying, to really work with Jared and make sure that we're tackling the things that are most important to him in the order that he knows his department best what needs to get done.
Exactly.
Stephanie.
Well, this isn't, I guess piggybacking on it, but Chief Jarrett's not here. But I wanted to see if he has any insight about the flock cameras that are going up, and if we're going to participate in flock cameras. And if you don't know what flock cameras are, they're basically, there's one on Pleasant Street going towards the police station. What it does, it moves, it looks at your license plates and then captures the vehicle details. But then some of the software, in addition to that, with the flock cameras, there's another company called Single Trace that can use it to automate license plates and then use your Bluetooth connection and other things. So I'm just curious, since it was mentioned that Chief Jarrett has different priorities, I'm wondering if he's going to look into grants or having something like that. And I'm also a little concerned with privacy and identity. There's been a lot of issues, if you haven't seen online or in the news, where people are destroying the flock cameras because they're losing their privacy.
Okay. John?
We do have a contract with Flock right now. I believe we have 4 cameras in the city limits. 4. I think 4 is the correct number. I have some security concerns with it as well. There have been multiple software updates that Flock has done on those cameras, and they've enabled voice recognition. They've enabled facial recognition without updating the contracts that they've had with municipalities. There's been 4 major municipalities cancel their Flock contracts. The city of LA, California was one of them, because Flock made changes to their system, and they also had officers doing searches for ex-girlfriends and girlfriends, tracking them.
Yes.
Which is against the law. And those officers lost their job, but they canceled the contract because of it, because the federal government and other municipalities were searching the databases without approval from the city that signed the contract with Flock. So
I totally agree. So that Big Brother fear, and if you want to watch the original Total Recall, not Total Recall, the Sarah Connor one, where she was running around hitting the Flock cameras for Terminator, there it is. But yeah, I'm very concerned that there's a big brother agenda and our identity, our privacy, and the things that the United States country was built upon is being jeopardized with the sale of technology as a benefit. But when those who are in position of power, leadership, who are supposed to protect us, who are doing illegal things, that becomes an ethical question, and then we need to protect our citizens as well if we pursue this or cancel our flock.
And it doesn't have to be our department,
Right.
people in our department that could potentially access the data. So I'm still digging on this.
Yeah, there's over 7,000 cameras in the United States. So it's coming up at an alarming rate. And then for those who feel like destroying the equipment, they're getting like misdemeanors and going to jail. So it's I'm just saying that we might have some encounters in the situation. We need to make sure we have a good stance of where we are in this.
Yeah, along with that, I would say, I would like to understand what the benefit that we have gotten from them, so we can fully understand, where, what we might want to do going forward. But yeah, I agree with you for sure.
When we signed the contract, which was roughly 2 years ago, we've had the contract now for about 2 years. The cameras were largely inoperable during the first year, or at least not. We weren't told that they were operable, the ones that were installed. At that time, when we signed the contract, one of the biggest things, and keep in mind, from a feature set perspective, it was less than what it is now. Software technology continues going in the improvement method, or if you want to think about it a different way, the more capable manner of more features. At that time, there was this significant discussion internally amongst the board related to having internal policies, procedures, and auditing of the city's usage of the cameras. And I think that having the police chief bring forward metadata associated with statistical reporting, audit results, just to make sure that, to understand how we're using the system, how other agencies and other municipalities are accessing the data from within our city limits, and whether we have very robust controls around ensuring accountability for that. I think that is very helpful. There's a much larger discussion happening, and you talk about destruction of property. There's one on Stewart Road on the east side of 35, in between Pleasant Valley and Liberty. Somebody tore it off the pole over the weekend. So it is local. It can't be said that it's an over there problem or an over there issue. There are pockets of disgruntled citizens, rightfully so, who are resorting to destruction of property in order to effect a political means. So supportive of discussion. I think we need a lot more data and understanding of in order to guide our discussion.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I would hope that we can do is either have a group of us or even just talk to the representative of Flock to get a better understanding. And then I totally agree about the metadata and audits and internal policy and procedures, but then also with the continuation of consumption of metadata, because you can use it a lot to triangulate and build profiles, which is what they're trying to do of a person, their behaviors. And if it's used in a good manner, but if it's not, we need to make sure we have safeguards just for ourselves. Because if someone can, people hack into things and say, oh, okay, I can get their metadata. So at this time, they're at this place, they're drinking or eating. I know when they leave their house. Oh, this is a good window and I can go do some extracurricular activities. So I just want to make sure that our metadata are, when that is being collected, is used accordingly and not exploited.
Okay. Well, Jared is not here, so we can't have a full discussion about that. But we will send thoughts on to him that he can come back and respond to us. Okay. Okay, any other alderman comments? No?
Nope.
Old business? Okay. Committees. Matthew?
I provided a written report, a couple things on there. One, I think, is just informational about the possible switch of our cell phone carriers. There will be no cost to the city, either setup or otherwise. And I talked to Jared, who's the department with the most cell phones, as well as Chris. They were both on board with making that switch. They said it would realize the first year a considerable cost savings, future years not as much. But I would recommend that move if there are no objections to it.
And we're going from?
We will be
What
going
to
from
what?
Verizon to T-Mobile.
They have good coverage in,
Yeah, that's actually how it started. Jared was having trouble with his MDT hotspots for his police vehicles. So he had already made the switch. He's already made the switch from Verizon to T-Mobile for his hotspots. So the T-Mobile rep approached me about, would you be interested? And I said, well, give me a proposal. And it came in cheaper and potentially on some new devices for people that have had them for a long time. So it seemed like a win-win.
And it's within the budget that you have set for 2026?
Well, it saves money,
It's
so.
a savings.
Okay.
reductions are good.
The other thing, I had included the two bids we had received for the sewer rate study. I don't know if the board, if that's just informational as well, or if the board wants to make any decisions on that side. But I just wanted to point that out, that I submitted to 16 different firms, and got 2 backs.
So on the sewer rate bids, I did see those, I did read them. The question that I had was, were there services or were there components of one bid that were not a component of the other bid? Or did they both provide the same level of reporting, guidance, valuation, estimation in the same format?
I would say they were at least roughly the same.
Okay.
There may have been, one may have been gone in a little different direction than the other, but they're largely the same.
Okay. There was a fairly significant price difference between the two. I think it's very important that we get a sewer rate. We just went through a sewer rate increase this year, and part of that discussion was really trying to nail down what our current percentages and amounts that we charge are in comparison to other, in comparison to what our goals for the sewer rate, for the sewer system need to be. So very supportive of getting that done. I move that we pursue accepting the sewer rate bid from gettinggreatrates.com for prior to the next sewer rate increase in February-ish of 2027.
Can you tell us what that rate was?
Oh, the
Estimate?
one was, I believe, 16,000, and then the other one, I believe, was 20,000. We're gonna go to try to find it was like on the last page of each one of them. No, it was 16,000 versus 12,000, I believe. Let's go find getting
Or just the service package 1.
Yeah, service package 1. So do we want somebody within arm's reach during our discussion of the report? In order to get that arm's reach breathing the same air as that person, that's gonna cost an extra $1,200. And I think that is probably not necessary. We're getting the report. We've seen the format of the prior reports. I think we can derive the information without having somebody to high five in the board meeting.
We could potentially get them on a call if, as opposed to being on site, because I don't think either one of them are in Kansas City, are they?
Getting great rates is out of Jeff City, and GDS is out of Georgia.
Yeah, so I don't think having them physically here is necessary, especially if all of our questions.
And even if we could change, we could choose that at a later date. It's not like we have to say, stay day one that we want to have you.
You keep saying exactly what I was about to ask. We're on the same wavelength today.
Great minds think alike. As long as we can, have a meeting and really set what we're looking for, specifically with the contractor, that is fine. We just know that it's not gonna cost us more than 12,000?
There was some
12,266.
Okay, all right.
And you're proposing that we do that this budget year?
Yes, depending on timing, we might need an amendment to the budget, but it's important. So I'm more than happy to support a budget amendment at some point before we sign the check for that.
Okay.
Another quick follow-up. Where would this come out of the budget for something like this? Does this have to do with
Sewer.
sewer specifically?
Yeah, it's not
Even though
coming
it's
out
not
of
like a
general.
fight, okay.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm saying that. I don't believe it would come out of general, Matthew.
I agree.
We would pay that out of the
It's
sewer.
pretty clearly a sewer.
Okay.
So you made a motion to go forward with that. Is that motion to have Robert create an ordinance to get a contract with them and reach out to them, tell them, send us a contract? And then we would go to Robert for confirmation.
Well, they typically have an agreement that they send. So we can start there with that, have Lobber review it, tweak it if it needs to be, and bring it back in an ordinance form within a month, either the next meeting or the next two meetings.
Okay, good, fair. If Patrick made a motion, I'll second it if it hadn't been.
Okay? Any further questions?
Confirmation of what the motion is, that is to accept this quote.
To pursue obtaining an actual
Okay.
contract with this.
So this would not be to agreeing to,
It's not agreeing to any contract or anything like that, yeah.
thank you.
It'll come back as an ordinance
That
with
then
a
would have-
contract behind it.
Okay, thank you.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from
That's it
you?
for me.
That's quite enough. Fire department, anything else? Pete?
No.
He's my favorite person.
Jared's not here, Sarah's not here. Chris, please come forward.
Yours isn't so easy, Chris.
I'm counting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have in your packet, I'm sure you saw, the full section 400. The original project was to clean up the wording mainly on the 30-foot setback. And then it expanded into just cleaning the whole section up, which was a fair amount of work. I'd like to thank Alex for his work on it. We met a couple of times. He did some work on his own, I did some work on my own. And the document that you have is obviously what we put together. I feel like it's very thorough, complete. I don't know what, if any, types of questions you all might have. I certainly didn't plan on going through page by page. The color coding, I believe, and hopefully helped you all, and I hope you all had time to read through it prior to this meeting. The stuff in green was stuff that really Alex and I can't determine ourselves, not being major stewards of the city. So that's the only hiccup in the packet of material that's essentially, and hopefully it would be holding it up for ordinance or resolution form, which we would hope to have by the next meeting. Again, depending on what you all think about it.
John?
Just for FYI for everybody, page 2 on the zoning that he's looking at. The next to the last paragraph, the color got reversed. So what is yellow should have been the blue, and what is blue with the strike through it should have been yellow to delete. And that, I talked to Alex, and he can get a corrected one of that. I think he's already corrected it to Matthew to forward to get an ordinance drafted to update this. But that, I've read through the whole thing twice, and I'm pretty confident that that's gonna cover everything that we had been discussing with this.
Yeah, we really went through it in a lot of detail. What you can also do with that page 2 is the very bottom paragraph that's all blue. That's correct. The one right above it is the yellow. Disregard that entire paragraph.
So when we have this come back with for the ordinance, are we going to have this color coded like this? Are we taking only the yellow portions out?
Correct.
Yeah, we would
Is that
like,
correct?
yeah, we would like to pull
Okay,
anything in yellow.
Alex?
If I may, from the research that Chris and I have both done, but a lot of the stuff with the other few municipalities that we've kind of plagiarized a few of the inserts that are documented in here. So a lot of those also had the review of the attorney just to assure there was the edits are correctly. And there's a few sections in here that there's a blurb right below the title, especially when you get into the R1 through C, working deal, that identify this was done and edited. I don't know how to do that. I don't know the proper wording for that, but I think if we get to conclusion of what's highlighted in green and a couple other comments, share this document with your attorney to assure how we approved, noted it, and get her recommendation or their recommendation to say this is what you need to do, is to make sure we do it correctly, to make sure the board has it. That would be my suggestion from what I've seen.
Okay, so this would go to Lindsay over at Laverne, because she's the one that's most familiar with our building codes.
My only confusion is some is blue and some is yellow and some is green. So what was the green?
So if that's described in the cover sheet, the sheet with my signature.
Should be that first one.
Okay.
And most of the green ones that came up were items that, as Chris has said, something
Okay.
I can't, fully vet. I think it makes sense because some of those are a little controversial. I think having the board input or members or however you guys see fit to review this document, I guess, one more time, or if everybody's in agreement with that, what we can do, we can go through those green edits right now for discussions. It'll add a little more time to what you're doing this evening, but that's up to you folks.
Okay, where are we at?
So here's my question. Have you already reached out to our lawyers, the green parts? No? Okay, so,
This is essentially a draft.
okay, so, the next step would probably be for that or whatever clarity we need to do. What do you think, Mayor?
I'm thinking that we need to have one more working session to address the green issues and then send it to the attorneys. How's that?
For a working session, are you talking about for the entire board or having just with staff?
I would have to have Alex there, John there, myself, Chris.
Okay, so like a small group
Mhm.
staff, not like a special board meeting?
No,
Okay.
no,
You probably saw there's not a lot in green, but it does,
there are some points.
the one is fees. I mean, that's normally definitely a board
Decision.
The other one was a setback. It showed, it was under R4, showing a front setback of 10 feet,
What page is
not
that?
more than 10 feet. Page 40.
And Chris, if I may jump in with that, I know exactly what you're referring to. In your ordinance that currently is available, and planning to come up and speak, I'm glad to do that with him. You have a couple of sections in here, and I brought the hard copy. Of non-conforming uses of the lot, section both 180, 400, Port 180, which is page 38. You go down to 39 or down to 40, which is the one that's noted for review. That's section 400, 200. In this section, which is I think why I think the legal would be appropriate, as you go through not just the C section, which is all commercial, but also in for mercantile or manufacturing, as well as this area and height exceptions. There's a lot of duplication of both R1, R2, R3, R4 being referenced for a manufacturing building, which really isn't a necessary need, or even some of the commercial applications. And I think what Chris is alluding to, if you go down to, there's a yard exception on page 40 down at the bottom. There were some changes for what we recommended for some potential edits for things to highlight. These were things I couldn't change, but I wanted to make sure Chris was aware of those to bring to your attention here. So I think the idea, the suggestion, I think this is when you're talking about G.
What about the 10? Scroll up. It's where you, it's at the bottom of page 4.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't real happy about the 10-foot. We thought it would be better to be 20
feet. And then when you go down to G, that's where the 10-foot was highlighted as well too. There was no side yard provision. Because that varies based on R1 and R4, then you get the districts listed again for the C. So I think there's some overlap, but I think it could help clarify your ordinance.
Okay.
So more commentary than anything. I'm not a land use expert. I think I know a lot of things, but I know a lot less than I probably should. And lots is absolutely one of those things I know probably less than nothing about. I would like to know why a particular change is important. If it wasn't set to 20 feet, why would that be? Why is 20 foot better than 10 foot? Tell me the why. Like on a lot of items like this, paint a picture. Be like, hey, have you ever driven past downtown Kansas City, this type of yard, and you're like, oh yeah, that looks terrible. Or yeah, I can spit out the window and it lands on somebody's head on the sidewalk. Like, tell me why a particular verbiage is important, because a lot of this legalese, I'm like, okay, cool. It seems overly prescriptive and possibly like penalizing.
I'm gonna say nitpicking.
Nitpicking, and I'd just like to understand the why.
From a planning standpoint, and my trade does require us to go through that as you go through your schooling and experience. When you go through different building types, as an example, North Kansas City built a lot of row houses in their back area by the park. Those have a different setback, almost a zero front yard setback because of the type of home. In your ordinance, when you have a R1, which is typically a single family, 2 is your multifamilies, two dwellings, and so on. Each one of those has some different requirements, but also how the city planners, when this was originally developed back in the 60s, that set it up that when our city has this, we want a house to be 30 foot off the property line, not the street. The property line was what the intent, I think, was here. And it describes and sets up some precedents for the beautification of what you have in your community. There is some areas in here, Chris and I've had some discussions and things just that could be looked at. Such as where our off-street parking is being put. The C district, which is kind of where this all came up, originally had it set that parking could be put in the front yard. You have this, now you have all this pavement, but you don't have landscaping, you don't have anything for beautifications of new buildings. Our ordinances don't even cover, like a lot of municipalities do, that your buildings have to have a certain look or appearance to them, which is where the review committees come into play, and mayor put in place here a while ago. So there's a lot of things that what you're establishing here sets precedents for how you want your community to look, how you want it to feel. And the Fulton property was the other one that kind of started this process as well too, where that setback was incorrectly determined at that time. Or the submittal of a site plan that didn't officially get done when it's supposed to. So there's a lot of nuances going on. This is just a way for you folks to clean this up and put it in the way that you'd like the community to be able to see any new work or existing repair work or garages added or accessory buildings to become.
And those setbacks can come into play too, where you have, right now, this day and age, there's a lot of people that seem to live together more, which brings more vehicles. Which then you've got vehicles in the driveway, in some cases, the rear of the vehicle parked in front of another vehicle blocking the sidewalk. Or you may have streets that started off in a part of town that weren't as wide at the time they were installed. And they may, in the future, some streets need to be wide, and that's difficult to wide. And obviously, if you've got houses crowded, that kind of stuff comes into play as well.
So would there be some like grandfathering if your house is here and you change the?
City's gonna force you to move it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Just move the house, take it back.
You would have to
Go around with the backhoe.
Don't
Yeah, it would certainly be grandfathered for the.
Absolutely valid, because I'm sure cities have tried to pull some BS with people.
Yeah.
But there are some other things within the ordinances that Chris and I've had some discussions for, that some of the requirements in here where off-street parking is noted is supposed to be paved to hard surface. We mentioned the one for the gravel drive, and I think the new little building here on Pleasant Valley Road that's going in, they're going to have a hard paved surface, and they're going to put asphalt down from that or something down that area for it. So that's following your ordinance for it. But you have other places where you have cars and stuff that are parked in the grass that's on the side of the street, right, the hill a little bit, or even down area that don't meet your requirements you currently have now. And I don't know how the enforcement is handled on that either. So those are things that from the board standpoint, you have those capabilities to do with the ordinances you have.
So quick follow-up on kind of what Pat was saying, because I'm in the same exact boat there. Most of this is gibberish to me. Would it be possible that after this next working session that you're talking about, to, if it's not too much work, I don't know how possible it is, to provide a summary of changes with the why behind them? I'm thinking similar to what I provided for the personnel paid time off changes. That was a small rundown of, this is why we're looking to make this adjustment, and kind of just the knowledge behind your guys, that we don't need the entire discussion of your guys' back and forth and determining why you like this, why you don't like this, but, and overall, this would improve for X reason. That way, when we come to then make changes, we have a little bit of the understanding that Pat was talking about. Would that be possible to provide something like that to the board?
Okay, so that could be part of the next working session.
Can I also request the examples that you give to have, for those who are visual, to show what you're talking about in that rundown? Because it would be helpful for me.
Chris and I had the conversation. One of the examples we were working with was North Kansas City's ordinance at one point. They used Excelsior Springs. So we're, communities that are definitely developed here. And they are visual examples that show exactly what your C1 is, what your C2 is on, or your R1, R2, and R3. So we can add that as a page or a supplement to
Or
support,
appendix or
or
something.
appendix and stuff to supplement that if you'd like to incorporate that.
I just think it would be wise for us because more people coming in, if they're not savvy in landscaping and land survey, we would be, at least we have visuals for references.
And just so you know, on that, going forward, when we would have somebody submit for any type of bill, we would get a drawing or something like that for property lodged from the architect and engineer. So we would have, but I understand.
Yeah, I think for the
For the layperson
Yes,
that doesn't have the
exactly.
professional expert with that.
Or
that makes
if
good
the
sense to
board
me.
wants to review it and has questions and like, oh, that's a new picture. Okay, that's C1.
Your comment was to actually add those drawings into the ordinance.
In the ordinance as an
Yeah.
appendix, and that was Stephanie's suggestion.
That's what I'm suggesting is to,
Which we could do.
yeah, or you could have it either as an appendix or right below the rationale of why we are doing this.
Sure.
Just to make it very transparent and I can't say it, just vagueness of it. So
I mean, that helps that, and that helps you out too.
Yeah.
I know just a couple other areas, I don't know if you want to highlight that one, but the fees.
Yeah, fees, so we gave you an example of fees only from Excelsior Springs, and on that sheet, I got it, Alex actually provided it, and I actually crossed out some of the stuff because it was outside of
We don't need it.
section 400. We don't need, I didn't feel like we needed it this time, otherwise this is gonna keep going and going and going. But the code references all the way to the right in that column, those are Excelsior's code references. Just, I didn't want anybody to like look them up.
Yeah, page 75 is where the actual current document is. And when you take a look at the fee structure, it's a lot lower than a lot of municipalities, and you may not have all a bunch of buildings, it's at least some like finance history, some kind of.
And obviously those descriptions are things that come up under planning and zoning, lot splits, final plat, variance, a rezone. So all those come up.
So next steps, we're gonna do one more review and then send that review to the attorneys. Have it come back. And do we want an ordinance at that point, or do we want it to come back to the board at that point?
I feel like there's, from my standpoint, I would like some time to be able for arguments and figure out things that I like, things that I don't like, and discuss them before it shows up in an ordinance. Because I know there's a significant amount of work that happens behind the scenes in order to get to an ordinance. I want to make sure that work isn't wasted when we make significant changes and it has to go back through that process. As my standpoint.
Okay. All right, we'll set a meeting next. given you guys' time and availability. All right?
Preferably not before the next board meeting. Give us a little more time. So I would like to maybe by just after Labor Day. I'm just trying to get a time frame.
Okay,
It gives us enough time for me to make some suggested edits here, finalize things we've talked about, get them inserted, and then sit down and talk with whatever members you'd like to see, Mayor, on that.
okay, that'll be
And
fine.
that gives us a little more time to not rush and, find a few corrections and stuff that we need to get made, so.
Okay, so we have a timeline now. All right,
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Second thing I have is, there was 4 pages, one's a map in your packet regarding asphalt overlay project. Page 1 was, so Tandem Paving, we used them the last go around. Pleasant Valley Road was done by someone else, but Tandem did the streets we did just not too long ago. Tandem was awarded the Platte County bid that we tagged off of. And then subsequently, they were also awarded the City of Lee Summit bid. So page 1, Nick from Tandem ran me numbers to overlay the streets highlighted, Pines Lane, Kale, Laverne, and Leona for the 185,802. He called me almost a month later, April, May, June, about 2 months later, a month and a half later. And he said, hey, we also have the Lee Summit. We were awarded also the Lee Summit bid. He says, I'm going to rerun the numbers under using the Lee Summit bid. And it came in less at the 172,508. So then we said, well, maybe I can add some more roads. So asked him to factor in Sobey Road from Pleasant Valley Road to Kale, which is, I don't know the exact footage, but it's a good run of street. So he ran it, and adding that in came out to 189, 555. So however you want to look at it, the cost or the proposed amount needed for the project has gone up by $3,700 compared to the first bid number 1, or gone up $17,000 compared to bid 2 under the Lee Summit bid. So what I'm asking for is that additional money. 100,000 was budgeted, and then Road Street is picking up whatever was outside of the 100,000. You'll never get Sobey Road done from Pleasant Valley Road to Kale for that price. I can guarantee you that.
Did we not do part of Kale already recently when we had the construction?
We did on top of the new stormwater.
Just
pipe.
that.
Yeah, closer to Chaz.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
So you said there's a split in funding. So Pleasant Valley has a special road and street district.
Yeah.
They pick up some of the cost. The city picks up a portion of the cost. You said that the city, out of our road and street fund, will pay $100,000
Towards this project.
towards the project.
In whatever.
And then
capacity.
road and street gets whatever's over $100,000.
Yeah, it was gonna be in the case, before Nick reached out to me, it was gonna be 85,000.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this feels a lot less of a decision for the board and more of a decision for road and street to make a decision of how much they are capable of paying, right?
Well, it depends on who's gonna give me the money. So my plan was Road and Street meets once a month.
Yeah.
Thursday. Tandem's on a timeline. Tandem's schedule's filling up.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I think he's saying we're gonna pay 100,000 no matter what. Right?
Yes.
So isn't it the road and street people who are gonna pay either the 75 or the 85, therefore it be their decision
They-
versus us?
They pledged to pay 85,000. So when I got off the phone with Nick from Tandem, when he called me about this, I reached out to Road and Street to try and set up a meeting sooner than 3 weeks from now, because Tandem's getting ready to go to Sedalia, do a bunch of streets in town, and they're doing schools. Then they start shutting down late October. And here we are, August. So
So I think what Chris is.
I'm worried about falling
Is
off.
that we can cover
Pay that
the
extra
other
$5,000.
10,000, but yeah,
Yeah.
$5,000 if we pay that. So we'd be paying 105,000 instead of 100,
If road and street won't do it.
That's basically what I'm asking for, because
because Road and Street doesn't meet. for
Road and
3
Street,
years.
I can tell you, and you can look at the books going back, they've always, I've always hit them pretty hard. And it's to the point now where their money's fairly well
Tight.
depleted.
It's tight.
And unfortunately, both us, the city, and Road and Street, we don't get the bridge and highway money from the state that we used to get. So the pot doesn't get replenished as quickly as it used to.
So we need a motion from somebody on the board to do the 105,000 rather than the 100,000.
I make a motion to change $100,000 to $105,000 to pursue the paving for,
Additional paving.
Additional
for
paving,
Sophie Road. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, anybody got any further questions?
Do we have the exact amount that,
Yeah.
rather than just saying
Yeah.
5,000?
So if we take the original 185 bid. Sorry, I'm on my phone and I do my calculations on the phone.
And
so-
it's, and I can tell you, it's not that technical, because what happened, this is a bid, this is a quote. When they're done with the project, they review quantities, and then you actually get your actual invoice. But that has happened in the past. The actual end invoice based off quantities has always been low.
$3,753.12.
Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah,
Say again?
$3,753.12.
that's on one of your sheets.
Literally all written on the paper.
Yeah, that's on sheet
Yeah.
number 3.
Would it make more sense for us to do the motion for $4,000?
taxes.
601.
I don't even know if this is required. Like, they can't commit to 85,000 either if the actual invoice is gonna be different. So,
They've committed to paying 80. What bid one is 80, they've committed to paying $85,802.40.
so like you said, if it comes in $10,000 less, does that mean the city of Pleasant Valley pays $90,000 and Road and Street continues paying
Or we each get a
$85,000?
You split the
Well,
difference.
we've always hashed that out after the fact.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah, it's,
So does the
Do we
motion
even
still
need a
stand?
motion then?
I would say we should, because we're saying if it ends up being the total amount, we are willing to pay it.
Yes.
And I don't think it's wise
Okay.
to not
Yes.
have that covered if it does end up being the
Yes.
total.
well,
amount.
and I'm not in a position where when Nick calls me and says, hey, here, I can do this, to say, yeah, go ahead. I
Yeah.
gotta ask for forgiveness and permission. No, I'm asking for the permission, even though it's only.
I like that.
I-
Thank you for lively discussion.
And further in that discussion, I think if they're okay with it, if we could amend the motion to be for $4,000 instead of for
I
$5,000.
was gonna agree with Serenity, just make it 4,000.
Definitely
Yeah.
covers this 3753.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't get a large driveway down for 17,000 on that other difference.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second? Did you made the motion? No,
Stephanie made it.
Stephanie made the motion. And did you make the
Patrick.
second? No,
Pat
Patrick
made
made
the
the
second.
second. Sorry, people.
Who's on first?
Yeah, okay. Everybody clear at this point, except for me, maybe? Clerk, call the roll.
Halliday,
Yes.
Halliday,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Not to mention too, I can only spend up to $1,000 without afford on anything. So yeah, that's another reason why I can't tell you.
I think Pat's hope is that the money isn't gonna get spent anyway, is his thought, but
Well,
again, if there's a,
well, good for us.
exactly, if there's a potential the money should be spent, then we should be prepared for it.
All right, that's all I got.
Julia.
All right. Probably the very last sheet in your packet is the September through June 2026 financial statements put together. Some new things this year, or this 6 months, is the CID fund, Capital Improvement District, I'm assuming. That was kind of a new thing that popped up. Had some expenses in there, so I've added a column for that. The American Rescue Plan, is that done? Can we remove that? Okay, because this is getting kind of thick and big and wide, and it's supposed to be published, and it's getting harder and harder to do that. Was much easier this time around. I did notice you all opened some new bank accounts in this last 6 months, so we've got some new accounts coming in, and the cash investments is almost doubled since last time. It looks like we took a lot of our extra cash and put it with MOSIP, who is investing it in all of these different CDs and different places all around, which I think is really slick. That's fabulous. First time I was treasurer, I would spend time calling up all of these banks and asking for their APYs on their CDs. That was something that the treasurer had done back then. I think that the finance chair ended up doing that more recently, but then you don't have to do that anymore. They just do it for you, which is great. So, very cash strong, it appears. So I entertain any questions that you all have about this. I was very pleased that the little Excel thing I had put together last time worked beautifully this time. Had a few questions for Matthew, but this is bank. I know the auditor had said that it was a cash flow, cash in, cash out. That's mostly true. He does it on an accrual basis. So you had accounts payable, accounts receivable, and that in and out. It was more like, what do we owe and what do we need to pay in the audit? This is actually your actual checking account. And this is, I start with, here's the beginning balance, here's the ending balance, and then you have your income statement, the cash wise, take away the accruals, and it should match. And it was pretty close. And then the difference was the interest from OSIP that we've recorded, but hasn't been actually deposited into our bank quite yet. So
Good.
It went really well, which I was very pleased.
Good. Okay, plans for the next 6 months or so?
My plans for the next 6 months is really to focus on, there's a couple things one thing that came up in this 6 months is the movement of cash to MOSIP went through fund balance of retained earnings. That's not how we should do that. So we'll make some adjustments to that. That should be like cash out, cash in, instead of doing it that way. And then tackling our pooled cash. So one of the things with doing an audit where you have the balance sheet provided is, having a cash balance that we can trust. And so I don't know back when, I forget when Encode was implemented. What year was that? Anybody have a memory? 21. Okay, so the last time we had a full audit, there was an Encode with this pooled cash coming in and out. And so the system makes these double journal entries. Anytime you put something in, it's moving that pooled cash, even if you don't tell it to. It's just kind of the way that the system is working. And it's great when pooled cash is reconciled, but it's not. And so I would say by My plan is by October is to have pooled cash reconciled and then monitor it in November and December and make sure it's working. Really through March to figure for when he comes. I want it to be beautiful before year end. I don't want to worry about this year end and backing into year end. I want to see that it's working and then monitor it's working so you all can have confidence in the pooled cash balances. I'm confident in the cash balances because I can see it in the bank statement. And if it's in the bank statement, then it's there and it's real. And so I think this goes all the way back to just the way Encode works and was set up, and probably honestly their lack of training to the people that were in the office at that time about how this works and how what you need to do to reconcile. This is not a pointing fingers exercise whatsoever. This is how this system works.
And let's fix it.
And let's make it work for us. It's trying to work for us. We just don't totally understand what it's done. But getting some of the adjustments that have been made over time to fund balance is unwound, because fund balance is like retained earnings. It's the prior year's history of the city of Pleasant Valley's balance. And you shouldn't ever make adjusting journal entries to that unless your auditor tells you to do it. And so we're going to try to unwind some of those that have happened recently and move forward from that. I think that might help help the pooled cash as well. So
working on retained earnings.
Fund balance, retained earnings, I think that will go along with pooled cash. So I probably won't have it completely beautiful by September. So give me till October when I come back and I'll have a nice report for you all about how this is all working. But it's going to take a little bit of time to work through. So any questions for me about that? Doesn't that sound like fun?
Do we need a motion to accept this?
You're more than welcome. I don't think it's something we've done. The next step for me is
To publish it?
if the board blesses that, Julie will sign it and we will publish it.
Okay. So,
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept this and approve it for publishing.
second. Okay. The January through June financials. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You did it?
Becky.
No.
Well, John
Becky?
first, Becky
Okay.
second.
Sorry. All right.
Starting to, she's.
Yeah. All right. Any other further questions on that? Clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Joy. Okay. Personnel Committee.
I do not have a written report because we are still in just discussion phase of the last personnel committee. We're going over the compensation study, so we should have the official recommendations to the board at the next meeting, assuming that when we make our adjustments, we can get it to legal in time and legal gets it back to us to get it to the board by that Monday. If anyone is interested in hearing kind of us go through that compensation study and getting a little bit more of the details, they're welcome to come to the next personnel meeting. That's it.
Finance? Nothing?
Nothing
Are
right
you
now.
sure?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. New business? No ordinances, no resolutions, people? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Serenity, second by Dean. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay.
Not much, how you doing?
Thanks for coming.
Your weekend. Your weekend. Shit.